Welcome back to another episode of Unveil, Intuitively Unlearning Life's BS. I'm your girl, Nachi, and I'm here with...
Damaris, the president of the Damaris fan club. Come on now.
You
If you're
with
not your
me?
own president,
Let me
I don't
tell
know what
you.
to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
You tell no lies there.
I love myself. I love
Yeah,
myself.
as we
Heavy,
all should.
pero heavy.
As we all should. As we all
Yes,
should.
we all should love me. Thank you. Just kidding.
Okay.
Love yourselves. Love yourselves, please. Before y'all out
Although
here
she...
like,
Right.
oh,
Although you would love people to love you.
yes, yes, I would.
Yes, be obsessed with me as I am obsessed with myself. Anyway, guys, welcome back. We are going to talk about 10 things that we've learned from our immigrant parents. These are lessons that weren't always spoken to us out loud, but were definitely modeled every single day of our lives. Many of us with immigrant parents can definitely appreciate the sacrifices that they've made. They've crossed borders, cultures, and comfort zones so that we could have opportunities that they never had. And while there were many lessons Damaris and I have learned, the ones that we're going to share with you are foundational and what keeps us going today. And we'll continue to do so as we instill those same lessons to the younger generation. So my kids, younger cousins, other people's children, that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of elevate and continue what our parents have done for us, our grandparents. It's just carrying that lineage and moving forward with that. So whether you're a child of immigrants or part of a first generation family, or just simply someone who values grit and gratitude, this episode is definitely for you, and it's dedicated to all immigrants who are here to make a better life for themselves and their families. So
Come on. Yes.
yes.
Yes, like Nachi said, this is dedicated to all the immigrants looking to provide a better life for themselves and for their children and for those back home, because that is something
Yes.
that we're very big on, paying it forward.
Yep.
So
We
come
don't
on
leave
now.
anyone behind.
No, we don't. When the tide rises, it lifts all boats. So this is
Yes.
what we do. This is how we operate. And like Nachi said, what we're going to impart with you today are life-changing lessons, and they've been life-changing for us in the most positive and best way ever, because I live a fantastic life, praise God.
Yes.
and
Amen.
and I've learned that, and that is due to how I was raised and by who I was raised by. So that being said, we're gonna jump right in and start with number 10. And this is a great lesson, and it's never stop learning and embracing curiosity.
Yes. That's one of my favorites. Cuz I always feel, and I like to always say that it's part of my ADHD, although Damaris says that I don't have it, but I know I do. I know the signs. I know what's
This
going
is
on.
self-diagnosed. Self-diagnosed. I don't know.
I
Okay.
don't need a doctor to tell me what's wrong
You know
with me.
what?
I
You're
know.
right, because I'm very big on know your body, but I
Yes.
just don't believe you. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
You
Anyway,
never believe me, but whatever.
not
We're
false
going to move on.
accusations. I do believe you most of the time.
Okay. Anyway, but one thing, and I would say this is also something that I've learned. My Poppy was always a big reader. And I always remember I never saw him without either a newspaper in hand or a book that he was reading. He was constantly reading. And it also created a bond for us as well. So I think back in the early days, Sunday, we would get the Sunday news, and he would have his paper and he would give me the funnies. He's like, "Here, you have the comic section, and I'm going to read, the rest, another a separate section." And he would then read the comics too, so that he's laughing. He's like, "Oh, did you read this one?"
What's so cute is like that doesn't even exist anymore. Who delivers newspapers anymore?
I
And it's so sad
know.
because we did get that, and I do remember those Sundays. Yes.
Yes, those are fun. Those are great. But one, it led to that love of reading. And for us, when you're curious about something, and I want to stress this because I feel today they try to keep that away from us. by way of trying to ban books, by trying to impose fear of knowing and learning what's out there. To me, reading is what's important. That's how you get to learn about other things, other culture. If you want to pick up a new hobby, it will require you to do a little reading. You don't have to have someone to teach you. You could actually read about it. I mean, that's how I learned how to um make soap, because why? I was curious about how can I make create something that's going to help my daughter, because that's where it really stemmed from. My daughter was having issues with eczema. She was really young, and the things that I was purchasing in the store just wasn't working. But in my head, I said, it has to be a way that I could create something. Why can't I create it? Let me figure it out. And I started looking into it, and that just ballooned into a whole hobby and obsession of my own. And to me, I think that's beautiful. It's okay. And I want to say, like, probably recently in the last couple of years is where I started embracing the fact that it's okay to want to learn different things. I used to think it was because I would be interested in something one day and I would get all into it. And then, tomorrow might be something new. And
Well, not for
tomorrow,
nothing, it is your Gemini in you too. But it's a beautiful
yes,
thing. Like I love, yeah, you are
I
very
love
curious.
it. Yes, yes. But I feel like I learned that curiosity, or that it's okay to be curious. It's okay to learn from Poppy, because he was always trying to, I feel like part of it was trying to test us to see, let me see what this educational system is doing. And he would always ask, hey, did you hear about such and such? Do you know about, what this is and what that's about? And sometimes I'm like, no, why would I know that? But then he would say, how you don't know?
No, no, make you feel mad stupid. It's like our father was our number one troll, our biggest cheerleader, and our biggest troll in life. And this is why I also a lot of shit doesn't phase us because people are like, oh, like, aren't you afraid somebody's gonna say this and that to you? I'm like, my
No.
father would say the craziest shit to me. But in the next breath, be like, you are the most beautiful person in the world. You are the
Yes.
smartest young lady.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm like,
But
no, you
these
can't.
are things, but
But
these are
yes,
things that he would learn because he was
yes,
reading
yes,
and he
yes.
found it interesting, and he would just say, "Let me see if my girls know about this." And when we didn't know, again, it was, how you don't know? Like, what do they teach you
So
in
let me make you
school?
feel so that way you could go encourage us to go learn about things. Okay. I
I,
guess that's the way to do it. Reverse psychology?
and I bet everybody has had encyclopedias in their house.
Yes.
I
And
remember going in there and just like, let me see what's in here. Let me
no, it's
learn.
true. It's
I
true.
found it interesting. And this is my daughter thinks I'm weird, but whenever I go to a bookstore, I get really excited. I don't know what it is, but it's just like this excitement of
You and Reggie,
there's
remember?
so yes. It's like there's so much information here and I could just consume it all as much as I want.
Right.
And to me that's one important and something that we should all embrace and shouldn't shy away from. And I just recently saw this woman who had challenged folks to start reading more. And the way she set it up was, it doesn't even have to be hard. You could just dedicate reading one page a day and writing two sentences about what you read. Because again, when you're reading something, you want to start critically thinking of what you read and how does that apply to you and to the world around you.
And speaking of which, I'm gonna end number 10 with based on what Nachi just said with reading a book, pick up 1984, George Orwell. Leaving it at that. You do what
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
Read that book, stat, and critically start to think critically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, so
that's a good
that's one of my
conversation. Yeah.
favorites. It's, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
embrace it.
So number 9. This is going to be interesting, especially us coming from a very traditional Latino household, and it is growing up as a feminist. So just to clarify, right? I feel like the term feminist is something different now than how I felt, how I grew up with that terminology. And, now there's all these gender wars. I don't give a fuck about that. So don't at me. I don't care. But this is on some, as a feminist growing up, it's more so being able to be independent and live equally amongst your peers of men and women, right? And so what I mean by that is us growing up in a very traditional Latino household. Yes, my father was the leader of our little group of four. He was a leader. He held down two jobs to make sure that we went to private school. My mom also held down two jobs. Her first job was in the office. Her second job was at home, taking care of us when he was at his second job, cooking the meals, making sure we were fed and everything was good to go, and that he had his lunches. They had their roles. But growing up, I had peers and cousins that were already cooking and doing stuff in the kitchen by like the age of 10 plus. And that was not something that was really pushed on me. I'll say Nachi had a slightly different experience, but for me, I was never expected to learn how to make rice at an early age. It was like focus on your studies. I need you to do well in school so that you can go to college, do well in college, get a great job, and do whatever you want and live independently. That's how I interpreted all of that kind of freedom, because I knew other first gen Dominicans that were like already doing that kind of stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? My mom makes dinner. I don't,
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
my thing. I'm busy doing extracurricular activities after school so that my my applications for college look good. I'm
Yeah.
trying to diversify my time, and it's not doing that stuff, household chores. And so I love that. And I love that my mom in particular prioritized education for me. And I didn't like it at the time, but I understand it. And it did give me a lot of leverage once I left the house, like of how I approach work and all this stuff. And yeah, and being independent.
Yeah, she did prioritize education. And for me, it was a little bit different where I did have to help out with prepping some of the stuff before she gets home so that she can cook dinner. But her stance has always been education is first. Like she didn't push, okay, we have to do X, Y. Like we had our chores, yes, and we knew we had to do it. We didn't have to do the level of taking care of the home as you mentioned that some of our cousins have had to do. Uh I laugh because just recently I was talking to a friend of mine and she was sharing how her kids, she has a boy and a girl, and they're constantly fighting. So her son is older than her her daughter, and she was just sharing how like they're just constantly fighting. And it took me back to when I was younger, and I was like, I don't know if I was a feminist back then or what, but I knew when our brother came to live with us, and I noticed he didn't have to do certain things that I had to do, like wash dishes,
Yeah, it's
just like,
bullshit.
and I remember I didn't express that to mommy or Bobby, but I sure enough expressed it to him. I was always trying to fight him, and he would
You
always
know
treat
why
me
not?
like
Because
girl.
you were calling out his privilege, and you were like, you need to use your privilege for good, and you need to
Yes,
be like, you know what, I should do these dishes too.
right,
But our
right,
brother was like, negative. I'm not fucking doing that. That's y'all problem.
right. Oh my gosh.
That's
And so I
privilege,
was,
guys. That's privilege.
yes,
Understand that.
because in my head, I always felt, why you don't get to do this though because you're a boy? Like, no, that's stupid. Mind you, he's 8 years older than me, who's far much older at that time. Like, we were very different. But here, my little ass trying to fight him all the time. And he would just hold me down, like, girl, calm down, calm down. But anyway, I mommy has always, especially mommy, because I think it was really important for us, for her to ensure that one, we weren't relying on any man to take care of us. She wanted to make sure, one, that we had the education and that we're set up for life and was able to maneuver and do what we need to do for ourselves as we are looking for a partner, because she wasn't against us having a partner. She was more so, don't rely on one person when you can do this on your own. Like, and I think that's something that she has seen with other family members where she felt maybe they didn't have a choice to leave a relationship, where they felt stuck in a relationship because they just couldn't make it on their own. So for her, she it was really important for us to make our way.
And also I think about her father passed away when she was 12. So
Yes.
she's the youngest of nine, so she had to see her mother had to figure it out. And thankfully her older siblings and their partners really stepped in
Mhm.
and helped the
Yeah.
family.
Yep.
And that's huge. And she's just like, her mother's life could have been, and her life could have been even more destabilized had they not had that support
Yeah.
system, because the father, who was the main breadwinner,
Right.
passed away.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So,
she was very much about make your own first before.
and she never called it out as being a feminist, but to me,
No, she
I viewed
didn't.
it as that because it was, she's raising two girls,
Mhm.
and so she's raising two girls to think independently while still being part of a family unit. For her, being married was important in that, and she definitely wanted us to be married and have children,
Right.
etc., and live the
Yeah.
life that she did. But she also wanted us to be okay on our own
Absolutely.
in
Yep.
any situation. And so thank you, mommy, for raising two fantastic feminists, and not the man hating kind.
Okay.
Shit, don't come for me. I love men. I love, because I love my father. Nobody's gonna disrespect my father.
Nobody, and none of the men that we
None of the men in
cherish
my
in our
life.
lives.
Yeah, sorry, not happening. Not here. Okay, number 8. This is a funny one, and you're gonna have to speak on this. The the idea that home ownership is better than having kids. Shit.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So this is something that stuck with me
How
because
a
my
parent tells this.
yeah, this is Poppy. He said this to me, and I think we were. I can't recall what the conversation was about, but this is what came out of that conversation. It was really, I think we were talking more about taxes and how you get better credits with having owning a home than you do with having children. So he wasn't saying that you should own a home before you ever have children, or you shouldn't even have children because home is way better than that. He was more so just saying, don't look at, because you have children that you getting all this great credit. Whereas home ownership, you get so much benefit out of that. And to me, that always translated as building wealth. And it takes you back to when our parents decided that they wanted to move to Florida. And we were like, oh, okay. We didn't really think about how home ownership was going to happen, but we certainly felt that that was a priority.
That's what you do.
We had to own a home.
You own
And
real
again,
estate.
because owning your own home, that builds wealth. It appreciates. You get value out of owning a home. And even outside of just owning a home, he would and I'm kind of sidestepping, but for him it has to be a benefit. And I go back to when I wanted to lease a car when I first was looking into car. He's like, "What's the purpose of leasing a car, girl? You're not getting anything out of it unless you have a business and you can tie that to your business." But home ownership for him was really important because that was a sign of success for him. That was building something for his own family. That was adding value. Unlike some of our other relatives who decided to create a home back home in DR, that was never a choice for him because he saw build having a home or buying a home here in the States was more valuable to him
Right.
because he didn't
Right.
see himself, retiring in
Full
DR. That
time
wasn't
there.
just
Yeah,
right.
no.
That wasn't something, that wasn't a goal of his, but it was a goal for many of our relatives,
Right.
and part
And
of
there's
it
no
that's
knock on that.
no, no, it's not. Actually, I feel like we should have a balance of the two because
Yeah.
we should have a piece of land in DR. We should be
Right.
building a home in DR because that's our home. It shouldn't end up to people who aren't even from there. You
Right.
know, it's it shouldn't have to deal with the whole gentrification of the island. But I think it's a balance of two, but understanding how home ownership builds wealth. And it could be your
Right.
home away from home. It could be that wealth, that generational um, wealth that you're trying to build for your family. It's it's all about finding what works best for you and yours and what you want to leave behind.
Right.
And you know, for me, I'm here considering like maybe I should buy something in DR because not only do I want a place to to maybe live the end of my days, but I wanna maybe wanna have a place that I could just get away like Tia Nina. Tia Nina, she goes there
I love it.
half the year, just
Yeah,
spends
her
half.
little place.
I love it. She's in her 90s,
Yes,
has
yes.
her little sanctuary
It's a little
in Santo
oasis. I love,
Domingo.
yes.
Yes,
I love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
I
And I
love
love
it.
it for her and her
And
husband.
still, yes, absolutely. And still in her 90s, she goes back and forth.
Yep. Yeah.
Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
It's about building that legacy. It's about building wealth within our family and being able to leave something behind.
Right. And I think to add to that, because I want to be mindful and make sure that people understand, for me, for us rather, it's not about building wealth to show like this is how I'm successful and I just have things,
Mm-mm.
because I know
Yes.
that is a thing for many of us in the culture and for many people in general of like this, let me consume. I'm not for
Yes.
consumerism,
No. No.
but I am for buying valuable assets that'll help that can be passed down in your
Mm-hmm.
legacy in your family, so to help sustain future generations. That is what I
Absolutely.
want. I want my niece and nephew to be comfortable, to be good. I want my younger cousins to be comfortable and good and know that they're protected and can
Right.
continue to
There's
thrive
always
and not work
home.
like donkeys all the
Oh wow.
time. But that's beside the point. But yes, so that was a great one. So moving on to number 7, the idea of creating memories being greater than buying things, which is a great segue into that whole
Mm-hmm.
moving away from that consumerism trap and really understanding that the creation of memories is so much more important, and how we live that growing up. Especially, it's funny because some of our older cousins will say, I had a one of my cousins said, "You guys were spoiled." I'm like, "We were not spoiled," and
Right.
and and now I kind of understand, because I think she was like, we were spoiled in the sense that we didn't have to cook and stuff
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
because she was an
Yeah.
older, her mom was older, so I felt and way more traditional than mommy and
Yeah,
papi.
I remember she
Abuela, you
was.
know what I mean? Like, it's
I
just
remember
no
her
joke.
saying that she used to have to clean the walls. I'm like, clean the walls.
Like, y'all stop. You sound crazy. You sound fucking crazy. But anyway, but the idea of my parents, our parents rather, they were not into the idea of like, oh, let's buy you the latest and greatest kicks. Let me buy you every new
Yes.
sneaker that came out. No, we
Hmm.
got one pair of sneakers. They were nice sneakers, but one a year, and one coat a year, if
Yes.
necessary.
Mm.
They were not wasteful with like buying us a bunch of name brand stuff. No, we weren't out there looking like paupers. No, but it
No, they
was,
were good about buying quality clothes,
yeah,
but
we bought
not
quality stuff, but we
constantly.
weren't, it
Yes.
wasn't
Hmm.
quantity, and it wasn't like every time,
Yes.
every month we weren't getting. Now I had cousins, they shall remain nameless, but they would have like the best gear.
Who got had the latest and greatest? Yes.
It would be it come Easter time, it was just like, oh, you got the Miami Vice outfit? Okay, this what we doing? And so we didn't have that. But what our
Oh my
parents
god.
were big on was the idea of taking trips, doing family events like going to Broadway musicals. I saw
Mm.
Annie, like at what we were like 6 and 8 or whatever
Yes.
on Broadway. Like, stop playing with me. Young
Right.
Dominican
Yep.
girls, impressionable, doing road trips to Florida, stopping along the way, south of the border, and all. Stop. Going
Yes.
to Cape Cod.
Girl, having lunch at the Waldorf Astoria because
My
he's
father was like, I
like,
want you to have that
yes.
experience. He's like, stop playing with me. My girls deserve the best. And we're like,
Yes.
yeah, well, we do this.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Granted, every 5 years, but we do that.
But it was
No,
it was a memory that stuck with us, right?
yes.
It's
Those
something
are
that
all the things
we,
that I remember.
yes. Those are things. It wasn't often, but it was enough that it stuck with us, and we knew that that was more valuable. And what you and I, we always, okay, what are we going to do with the kids this year? Oh,
Yep.
and then we get upset when we feel like they're just not
Grateful.
taking it, right. We're like, you're not taking it in like you should be taking it in. And it's funny because they are. Because when
They
we
are.
when we when we took a step back 1 year, they're like, fuck it, we ain't going nowhere this summer.
They were like,
They're like,
oh,
why aren't we going anywhere? And we literally told them, well, you guys just, you act like you don't care. We're trying to create this, memories and create this experience. And you guys have this face, this look like, oh brother, like what are we
I'm
doing?
bored. Okay.
And they both were like, that's not true. We really had fun. And we're like, that's not how we was expecting a lot more of this is great, this is awesome, but we
We
probably were the
extra.
same way.
No, we were exactly the same way. But we're like, no, we want you to jump up and down. We want you to show grovel at our feet. No, we're ridiculous too. And so,
So now it's more like, I don't care, you're gonna do it and that's it. There's
yeah,
no.
we're making memories, god damn it. No, I love it. And it's been the best thing. It's been the best thing. Okay. So number 6, be generous because it will come back 10 times more. Now, we grew up with parents that we were by no means rich money wise, but we were wealthy in love, good
Mhm.
vibes, aura. Like, we were heavy
Mhm.
on that.
Yeah.
People love my parents. And a lot of that has to do with their generosity as people, not just by what they paid for, but with their time, with their presence, and all of that.
Mhm.
And one of the things that always stayed with me was how mommy and papi were super generous. Like, when we would go out to dinner with our extended family or whatever, they would be very big on like, no, we're gonna pay for it or whatever. And I'm not saying, this
Mhm.
like all the time, but it was just like, it was nothing for my father, especially, to be like, I got this, and
Mhm.
not to show off, but to express to the Most High, thank you for giving me this. I want to share it, because with money, money is currency, and currency, you have to keep it moving. You have
Mhm.
to let it flow. And he was
Mhm.
happy to do that because he was grateful, number one, to have it, to
Mhm.
have the means to pay for himself, his family, and others. And and secondly, it's gonna come back. And not only would it come back, it always came back more. So that stuck with me, especially those times when I feel like, oh, I don't see the money coming in the way I'd like it to. And so I start to get tighter with the purse strings. I have to remind myself, no, you need to let that go. Because when you
Right.
let it flow, it will come back.
Right.
And and it does every time. My bills are always paid for, praise God.
Amen.
I don't worry about things. I don't have to, because I expect the best, and I help those who I can help. I help myself, and this is where we're at. So,
Yeah,
yes,
and
I would
sometimes
say
it's not
that was big
even
for me.
necessarily, yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it's not necessarily giving money. It could be giving time or giving space. I remember we've had several family members stay with us because they just needed a place, sort of like
They
a
were in a phase or
transitional,
something. Yeah.
right? Just having that transitional, they were in a transitional space where it's like, okay, I just need some time to get myself on my feet and then move on. And I recall several people staying with us, whether they were cousins, uncles, where they opened their doors to them and they were like, of course, you can come and stay here. Was it extra? another mouth to feed, yes. But that wasn't something that they were concerned about, because like you said, it's just like, that it's going to come back to you 10
Hmm.
times. So why act like you cannot? You could always do something to help. It may not be in this, it may not look the same as someone else who may have more than you, but you can do and give in many different ways. So
And
always
it's
look to that.
Yeah, and it comes back tenfold, because when I say people to this day, like the way people's reaction of when Bobby passed away, it was insane. Like they just like, oh
Hmm.
my God, like it was so hard for them. And then I think about your mother and her dementia state, how people to this day will ask, like, can you bring her to my house? Let her stay with
Hmm.
me for a week or two.
Hmm.
You know what that
Hmm.
is for someone to be like, I'll take care of your mother for 2 weeks,
Right, right,
knowing that
exactly. Because it's
she had
not easy.
dementia.
Yes,
They're like, no, no, we got her. That's
yes.
because that's the love that they generated. That's coming back. So she's
Hmm.
like, I'm taken care of.
Yes, yes. She
Thank
has a
you.
village. Yep.
Thank you guys. Thank you, family. It is
Hmm.
not, it doesn't go unseen by us. Number five, be a partner to your spouse.
Yes, indeed.
And so I'm going to start with something that my mom has shared with me after, when I was an adult. And, and again, it reinforced what I saw between the two of them about marriage and what it means to be in a partnership. And as I've already mentioned before, my father, he was the leader of our family unit. And so basically he was a QB, right? Quarterback, and he making sure he's making the plays for us, and we're getting to the end zone. We
Right.
always got to the end zone. We always
Yep.
won those fucking games.
Yep.
But sometimes the QB gets hurt, right? And there was a time in our lives where my father, he had an accident on the job and he couldn't work, and he's fighting with a gigantic corporation that he worked for. He's fighting to get paid his disability, and they were giving him shit, not paying him months.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when we're a two income household and we become one, that is stressful as fuck, as you can imagine. You have one child in private school, another in college, and you're dealing with this court case. My father was throwing in the towel. He went back to bed, put the sheet over his head, and was like, I don't know what's happening. This is the story my mom is telling me.
Yes, yes.
That she had to go to the room, rip the sheets off him, and she's like, no. My mom came in as a second string quarterback, backup quarterback,
Okay.
was like, I got this, babe. I got this. This ain't happening. What you gonna do is snap out of it.
Right, right.
What you gonna do, number one, snap out of it.
Get up. We got this.
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna talk to so and so, borrow wherever we need to borrow, put our credit cards together, whatever. She got my father's head in the motherfucking game.
That's it. And that's what it's about.
She didn't know. She didn't have answers. But she
No.
was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this together, and we're gonna figure it out together.
Right, because she saw him down and low, and she's like, "Nah, this can't be it.
This
I have
ain't
to
it.
step in." And the funny part about that is that you and I never ever felt the effects of what they were dealing with.
No.
It was not known until we were well into adult life and living on our own, pretty much, where this story came about. And it was like, oh my gosh, really? It was, that is true partnership,
Yeah.
because they're the two leader of the household,
Mhm.
and they had to come together, especially when one is seen as like giving up, so to speak. Like,
Right,
okay,
right. Shit.
shit, shit ain't happening. I don't know. We might have to sell this house. We might have to, I don't know. I'm done. I'm tapped out.
And
I
that's not
can't.
my father, and that's just
No,
not
because
him.
he's always the type, but I feel like that's how I am too. Things can be figured, like we could figure this out. There's always a solution to every problem. We'll figure it out.
Right.
And I think he just got to a point where it's just like, he couldn't see a
He's human. He's
solution.
human.
Yes, he
He's
couldn't see a
human.
solution. But that's like you said, that's when mommy had to swoop in and be like, nah, she had a clear vision because
Because we
she,
all relied on him, and she's like, you know what, this is,
yes,
I
yes,
need him to be like, I need to step forward and
yes,
lead
yes,
temporarily so he could get his mind right.
yep, yep. And that's what it's all about. And I always stress this with, because I was married, and that was one of the biggest issues, that I felt like I didn't have a partner in my marriage, and I was part of it. It
Hmm.
cannot just be on one person to figure out everything. That is too much. It is too much, and it's not sustainable. It may
At
be
all.
okay for a little bit, but it's not sustainable for the long run. So I always say, if you're getting into a marriage, know that this is going to be your partner, because that's
And
what it
it's,
really boils down
yeah,
to, is having that partnership. It's having that person, like you said, if you fall down, that person's like, okay, no problem, I could pick it up and we can keep on rolling. It's not just all on
right.
you to
And it's
figure
not
it out.
always going to be 50-50 too.
No.
There are times like, you know, that, yeah, no, 70% of the time you got it. And then there's going to be times, look, I can only give 30. And at that time, my father was like, I can only give 10% right now. But guess what? That man has given us 100 or any other time. I
Yes.
mean, I wouldn't even say 100 because my mom, she put in what she was supposed to do in her role in that family. But
And
as the
it's
head, like, come on.
it's funny because partnership looks very different. We talked about how mommy's role was, she had her full-time job, but her second job coming home was to take care of us. So Papi was
Second job, yeah.
at his second job. So that's part of partnership. It's like, okay, where do I pick up where you're aren't able to step in on? And I remember one time we were at some family function, and mommy was preparing Papi's plate. And I remember a cousin saying, why is she preparing his plate? He should be getting his own plate. Da 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 da. And I remember saying, well, he works two jobs. Like, it's okay. She don't mind making his plate, and it's nothing wrong with her making
No,
his plate. I mean, he does a lot of shit
yes,
for us as a family.
yes,
I think it's okay for her to make him a plate.
yeah.
This man, he
Come on
would
now.
fix stuff around the house. He would spend time with us as
Yes,
children. He
after
is not a,
working two full-time jobs.
yes, this man is not a slacker. Yes, my mother's going to fix him a plate, and it's okay. What's your beef about that?
Yeah,
But again, they didn't come from our household. They didn't see all the things that they
right,
both put into the relationship. They didn't see the partnership that we grew up seeing living in that household. So we knew what was up.
right. Which leads perfectly into the number four life-changing life lesson was centered around family.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks to it in that our family unit, our core,
Yes.
was number one. So
Yes, you were
while
the
you
core
extended
four.
okay, while y'all extended family members, like, yeah, you saw a slice of it, and you could interpret what you will, whether or not she made us play, who gives a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
He was
Mm-hmm.
happy, she was happy, we were happy.
Right.
But you
Right.
just explain, here's all those other layers, all those other things that were happening behind the scenes. And
Mm-hmm.
that it just reinforced for us like how important we were as a unit, how we moved in lockstep. So while my parents didn't agree 100% on a lot of things, I wouldn't even say a lot of things, just on a few things,
Mm-hmm.
it was a united front on the outside. At home,
Yes.
and even in front of us, they rarely ever fought in front of us. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's like we're not hiding, but we're also like, no, we need to focus and keep and preserve
Mm-hmm.
what works for us, because there are a lot of people that don't want to see you succeed or win or get jealous, and it's like, nah.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
they want to put in their 2 cents, or taint whatever. You're not going to do this, we're too strong, we're foundational, and that was huge for
Yes.
us.
Yes. And that was, yes, I'm glad you brought that. It was it was always us four. And you're right. It was always a united front. Like what was going on at home, it was discussed at home. It was dealt with at home. Whatever plans we had for the future, it was us. And I think I was telling you earlier that I've always felt, for me, your core unit, whether it's your own family that you was born into or your chosen one, you have a core few people that you, this is who you're tied to, in the sense of, if shit ever goes left for me, I always knew that I could run to my parents and just shack up with them regardless.
Facts.
And I knew that I, one, wouldn't feel stressed or pressured to move along faster or get on my feet quicker. I just knew that was home base for me. The same thing with you and I, because we're part of the core four.
That's it. Ridiculous. But I love it for us.
I know if shit goes left for me, I'm going to my sisters. And I love my brother-in-law, so I know he just be like, but he'll accept me
Yes, yes.
as well, because he know we're the core four.
There's no choice in the matter. No, it's ridiculous, and that's just how it is. And that's
And
just how
this,
it is.
yes, and it's the same thing that I instill in my own kids. I they understand that I am their home base, and they see you as their
Yep.
home base as well.
This
It's
is a
just
safe
like
space. You
it's
will
it's a
always have a home.
yes, the door is always open. Whatever is going on in your life, we will figure it out. You know, even if I'm upset with you, even if, I don't agree with what you're doing, we'll figure it out. But I'm going to tell you a thing or two at the same time. But yeah, it's just having that that unit, that the core people that you can always lean on. And while we always had a village, and it's always important to have a village and have that extended family unit, there's always the core of that family that you will always tap
Yep.
into, and
Yes.
that's going to be essential in your foundation. And again, it doesn't have to be ones that you were born into, a family that
Because
you
we
were
were
born into,
lucky.
because right, we were very lucky. But I do know that there's a lot of people who did not, it didn't work out that way,
Hmm.
and it may look different. And I'll use my kids as an example. Their father and I are not together, so we're not the core.
No,
Us
not any right.
together, we're not a core unit. But I am for them, and like I said, you are for them
Hmm.
as well. So we together
Right.
are that core family unit for them.
Yes.
And again, it could look very different for anybody. It may none of them could be related to you,
Right.
but
Right.
you
It's
have.
your soul family. But look, whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter to me. But I chose my parents. we
Hmm.
we were connected on a soul level before coming here. My sister, like, we're soul sisters. Like, that's not just a song. No, we're
And we feel it in our core. Like, it's just like, we know,
yes,
we feel like we will be together in many
here
lifetimes.
and beyond. Like y'all
In
can't fuck
many
with us. Stop
yes.
it. Like, no. So, but and some people find their soul family that are not necessarily biologically blood related, but there's a connection
Yeah.
there at a soul level, and that is huge. That's more important. I just lucked out because this is what I chose before coming to this earth. These are my
Yeah.
peoples here and there.
Right. And mommy and papi were very strong on, this is us. It's us four
Yes.
against the world type of thing.
Okay, okay. And then and as you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the generosity, we it was also that whole we would bring have our cousins, aunts, and other people live with us for short periods of time while they're getting their lives together in whatever part of the season they were in. And my parents were generous enough to, yes, you could stay in the spare room and stay with us for however long. That was huge. That also showed me, like, no, this is how you're there for your family, for your extended family,
Exactly.
how
Yeah.
important the village was in order for you to succeed. Because we would, when my mother worked and my father was at work, our aunts took care of us. They
Yes.
babysat us when they went on
Hmm.
vacations. Okay, without us, okay.
Right.
We were with our aunts, our tias, our tios, that we were with them. They took
Yeah.
care of us. That was no
Hmm.
question. My
Hmm.
parents could trust them. They could
Yep.
rest easy and enjoy life.
Yep.
So that was huge. And our family is an important factor for us. And for us, it was, we were lucky we have our biological family, but your soul family
Right.
ultimately is what's most important. Number three, follow the beat of your own drum. This is what my father, if you looked up that phrase or something in the dictionary, you would see my father's face. Following the beat of your own drum. Like that man, I learned so much from him when it came to that. And even when he passed away, I remember this family friend saying, one thing about your father is that he lived his life on his terms. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yes. And that is freedom. And I love it. And
Yeah.
and it was easy, I'll say for me. I know at certain points in my life I felt like I was doing things because it was expected for me to do. So working in corporate, being a certain way and going to school, listening to teachers and all that stuff. Even at home, your parents, they say this, the optics of how you look from for the neighbors, lo vecino, like who gives a fuck,
Mm-hmm. Right.
your family and all that stuff. And so, which is funny because at the same time, your father would be like, I don't care what they think. I'm going to do what I want. But when it came to us, he's like,
No,
what
yes.
the neighbor's going to think? I'm like, I'm confused. Okay. What
You
works for
go
you
when
don't
you
work for
go
me.
outside,
Got
you're
it.
representing us. So
And he's right.
please behave accordingly. Okay?
Not wrong, but come on, we got to be us too. But lived his life on his terms. I love that for him, and I loved it for us because by him doing that, especially when he passed away, when he transitioned from this earthly realm, it left us destabilized, still
Mm-hmm.
destabilized.
Yes.
I'm managing that instability, and but part of it is because I do that thinking about how did he live his life? He did what he wanted, how he wanted to do it, and
Yeah.
he lived a beautiful life. And that is
You
what
did.
I remind myself to do. And that's what I do. I'm
No,
gonna
that's
do it
important.
anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna, that's it. I'm just gonna do it anyway that
That's
I want.
good.
So, yes, follow the beat of your own drum, follow your passions, do what it is that makes you happy.
Regardless of what others think or say.
Align with your purpose that you hear in your heart. That's you. Follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number two,
That's yeah, I think faith is really important.
foundational. And this is again what we learn from our parents and how they executed faith and how it was interwoven in our lives, in our upbringing, especially during the tough times. Because it's easy to be faithful when things are going well. And we saw
Oh
that.
yes.
And then it's like, okay. And when I think back to how my mom was a great partner, how she showed me how to be a partner in a marriage, and my father too, obviously, but that idea
Mm-hmm.
of you stepping in when times are tough. And part of the reason she was able to do that was because she had faith. And
Yeah.
my father could see also through those tough times through faith. Like he's like, no, I'm going to keep fighting this gigantic entity that wants to not give me my fucking money. And he won. Praise
He
God.
did.
and
He
and
did.
they gave him all the back pays.
That's
Praise
it.
God.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you can't survive those kinds of trials and tribulations if you don't have faith.
No, I always, for me, I always see we're gonna go through peaks and valleys in our lives. It's not always going to be good, and it most definitely will not always be bad. And so, in those times where things are pretty tough, I do rely a lot on my faith and knowing that there's a higher power working it out. I envision, uh, all these different pathways and and whatever it is, God is like, okay, well, if she goes this way, I'm gonna make her go all the way around here. But if she makes this decision, maybe we'll go straight up. I know God is always kind of working out clearing out the path for me so that I can get to the other end. That is always in me, and that's been instilled in me from both our parents, where it's just, look, sometimes it's not anything that you can do, and you would just have to leave it up to a higher being, whether it's God, whatever you want to call it. It's a higher being that's bringing you through the trial and tribulation. You're not going to stay in that situation forever and a day. I always say I keep telling myself, this is just temporary. This is just temporary. I will, you know, be on the other end of that. Right?
And it is, and yeah, it is. And I know you also mentioned about, and this is, you're really good about this, renovating our ancestors.
Yes. I learned that mostly from Pop because he was really big on giving honor to those who have passed on. One, to pray for their souls, but also those that are doing work for us,
Come on.
who is in that spirit realm, making sure that what they've kind of set for us, that we are pushed forward to getting and going through what's happening in life. And I also lean on them.
Absolutely.
I also call out to them because our ancestors, we and they come in different ways, but you could tap into your ancestors that may have, you know, may have had something that, I'll go back to this. I always look to my father to help me when I need to communicate something effectively because I felt like he was always a good communicator, right? So
Yes,
I'm
he
gonna
was.
tap into my dad and be like, okay, I need you to like help me through this process. I need you to help me articulate it in a way where I'm not sounding angry or something to that effect. Or maybe I want to schmooze them and make them.
Because your father was very charismatic, and knew how to disarm people, and that's
Yes, he
huge.
did. He did. But we look to our ancestors to kind of lift us up, to get us up because they've been through it. They know what it is. They see it. You
Right.
know, they see it from where they came from and they see it from where we are and where we're going. So they could definitely be that anchor and that support
Yes.
that pushes us through. And so that's again something that Poppy was really strong on, and showed us. It wasn't something that he necessarily talked about to us, but it was always on display, right? He had his altar. He's always praying. He had a list of people who's passed that he knows of and he prays for, and he's always like they're always present in our lives. So yeah, that's definitely important.
Yes, and I'll leave it at this, in that our ancestors don't play about me and Nachi. So watch how you
No.
talk to us. No, it's true. I'm joking, but it's true. Like, they don't play about us. Okay. And number one, this is the big one. And if you've listened to us thus far, you are the MVP of listeners. I don't know about the rest of y'all. MVP right here. Number one, trust your intuition above all else. And one thing I will say is that if you don't generally trust your intuition and you're not quite sure what it feels like, start in small steps, meaning small decisions, because then you'll start to feel the difference between responding out of fear and responding out of what you know is best for you, responding from your gut and not from fear. And so the reason I'll say, Nachi and I talked about this, why we feel like this is more important than faith, because sometimes when you're not even raised to even understand what faith is, all you have is your intuition.
Yes.
And that is, honestly, honest to God, no pun intended, but that is how you are, how the Creator speaks to you, how you get in alignment with your highest self. If you believe that your being started and ends in on earth, okay, good luck. You may not get a lot of what we're talking about, because I
Right.
know I existed. I'm an energy form that existed before this human vessel, but I'm grateful for this human vessel. Come on now. And when I think again back to why trust your intuition is the number one thing, the most life-changing lesson we ever learned from our parents, our immigrant parents, is that Our father, early in his life, he was orphaned by the age of 7, 8, maybe even younger. But think of yourself 7, 8, no
Hmm.
parents. You're hustled from household to household. No one's really taking you in. But he made how his life transpired, how he went away to school, to an engineering school in Berlin, Germany, learned German, English, came to America, and came educated here and was educating other motherfuckers here.
Yep.
His immigrant mind met my mother here on this soil, she full of ambition. And with my father, he got to where he was simply because all he had and all he could rely on was himself, was his intuition, the signs that he received, what felt right in his gut. Thank God.
Yep.
And that is how he came about in his faith. He knew and understood that there was no way he got through in life the way he did if it were not for a higher being. But he only got there because he followed his intuition. Anything that's ever worked out in my life has been because I followed my intuition. And I learned that from my parents. That's
Yeah.
it.
No.
Game
And
over, man. Game
that's
over.
it. That is it. And we are always drilled in society that you shouldn't follow your intuition, but that's all a trap.
Yeah, that is a trap. Follow everybody else outside of you. Follow the doctor. You know how I love Western medicine. Oh, follow what the president says. You know how I love the government. Follow these three-letter agencies. Okay. They know what's best for you. Take this, do that. Fuck out of here.
Follow what your gut tells you because that's what's speaking to you. That's your intuition saying something to you. That's your inner being. That's the creator speaking through you. It's
That's
not
it.
something that's external. It's internal.
I don't need a priest. I don't need a rabbi. I don't need an imam. I don't, and that's respectfully. I don't need any middleman.
Hmm.
Respectfully, to connect me to the Most High. I'm a
Yeah.
highly favored child of the Most High already. I don't need a pastor. Thank you. No disrespect to anybody who does. Don't come at me because I don't care. Don't at me. I
Right.
don't need that. If you need it, fantastic.
I'm gonna throw some holy water on you.
Okay, I don't need lawyers. I don't need any of that to talk to connect with the Most High. I'm connected. I'm connected. I got a direct dial. It's like the astronauts calling the president from the moon, Beacon, on the red telephone in the Oval Office. Come on, I'm talking to astronaut. I'm talking to the presidency directly. Direct line. No interference. No
Oh,
Hollywood studio to the White House. No.
no, no. Stop.
I'm
Stop.
speaking directly to my maker.
You're
Not
so
you.
stupid.
Too much. You play too much. Stop it already. But
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
we're look, we're at this, we're at time, we're excited. We hope that you take, that some of these lessons, they resonate with you and that you can share them with other people and think about your own life and your own family, and that includes your soul family and those people that have impacted your life, and think about those lessons you've learned along the way and pay it forward, share it with others. So always, 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 thank you guys. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for supporting us. Please continue to do so in any capacity that you can. Share our episodes, follow us. It means the world to us. It keeps us going. Because if you don't, we'll stop. I'll just call my sister on the phone and just talk to her. I don't need to,
And
I
that's
don't need
it.
to, and we don't need to edit these episodes anymore. But I do it because we're called to do it. We're called to share. We're called to build community. So there's a lot of chaos, and that chaos wants us to stay in the dark. It wants us to not live in the light. We rebuke that.
Amen.
Rebuke it. Our message is consistent. Stop getting distracted by the smoke and mirrors. Tune out the noise. Focus on your divine purpose in life. Vibrate higher to elevate your frequency. And always, thank you for listening. Please follow us on all platforms at Unveil Pod and at unveiltounlearn.substack.com. Take care. Bye.
Bye.